8679904. 8679904. 8679904. Do you like my dancing?
This is To Wit, a podcast for women in tech doing life. I am Kristi Guzman.
And I'm Melinda Smith, your entertainment for the hour.
It's a nice prelude to what we have to offer today.
Yes. We have amazing things to offer, but first, where in the world is Kay Goose?
Where in the world is Kay Goose Monterrey-Ego?
It's the singing episode.
I am in Portland,
Nice.
having local beer and attending Forcelandia, which is a developer-focused, community-run event that is fabulous. Keep code weird.
I like it. Portland's awesome.
That's their motto. Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's heat wave-erific right now, so I'm actually I have not actually been outside today, which I'm kind of thankful for. It's actually this really cool venue called the McMenamins Kennedy School. So I think McMenamins has a whole bunch of these, but this one specifically used to be an elementary school. So I'm in a guest room that has a chalkboard on the wall, and it's just really quirky and unique and fun. And their sessions are in the gymnasium.
Yeah.
And
my reunion.
They have a bar that's called the detention center. And, the boiler room bar that's
it's a cool use of space.
Yeah, it's really interesting and just fun and punny and unique. So they actually have a movie theater that shows movies, but then also that's where the opening keynote was. So it's basically a bunch of couches and random chairs. And, it's really lovely. So it's fun and it's great, just seeing people I haven't seen in a while. I haven't been to a community event in a little while, and now I'm stacking them all up in the next few weeks. So,
yeah, you are.
I love that somebody legit said to me, I said, "Hi, I'm Kristi." "Oh, from To Wit," and I was like, "Yes!"
Oh my God, we finally made it. Yeah,
I know, right?
That's
between
awesome.
that and people who are like, "Oh, Map Anything, I love Map Anything," and I'm like, "Man, you're just validating my whole existence. This is just great."
Everything is amazing.
Yeah. So, we're wrapping up day one, and it's been real fun.
Rafe. And then what's next on your world tour?
Then I will be in Chicago for the Midwest Dreamin. Hi. Midwest Dreamin, plus Witness Success, plus I Need a Nap, apparently. The Difecta of Awesome. I will be speaking at both of those events.
You said difecta. I like it.
That has to be a word, right? Trifecta is a word.
Why not? Duofecta. Defecta. No, I made it weird.
Defecta.
I made it weird. So we have an amazing guest that you and I had conversations that I insisted had already been on the show. And I was wrong, of course.
Oh, yeah. Because you're like, how could she not have been on the show?
Yeah, and I talked to her a lot anyways, because she is helping on Witness Success, the board. So I was like, no, we've been on there. But before we intro her, I have to tell you what I'm doing, because it's such a massive shift in my life that I'm not even sure what's happening.
Oh, okay. I'm ready.
I'll see if I can give you the breakdown. Okay, so for the last year or two, I've tinkered around with the idea of vegetarian because red meat doesn't make my tummy feel great, and I'm so over chicken, whatever. Then I don't toy around with the idea because it's just hard. Then my sister-in-law, who had been having kind of GI issues, decided to try vegan. And then my other girlfriend, who's had skin issues for most of her life, same thing. And then they had me watch Forks Over Knives, a documentary on Netflix, and I am giving it a shot. Not just because I watched one documentary and it changed my life, but it is pretty powerful.
Okay.
But this autoimmune disease that I have, I don't want to go back on meds, and joined a support group on Facebook, found out I may not be able to. If you go off these certain kind of meds, most people that go back on them have anaphylactic shock. And I was like, oh, that'll be a hard pass for me. Thanks.
FYI.
So I'm giving it a try.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not super comfortable with using the word vegan yet because really for just to be a complete dumb shit is because it comes with all these other connotations and I'm doing it for different reasons. I don't not like PETA, but that's not my motivation kind of thing. So I'm not really sure where I land or what I say or if it matters. I do have a few friends I've reached out to. And then last Saturday, a girlfriend, the one I'm officiating. So yay, I got to talk to them, ask them about how this should go down. And she's like, why don't you come over? Erin loves to cook. I was like, that sounds amazing. She's like, what can you eat? And I said, so about that. I was like, I'm not really eating dairy or meat. And she's like, vegan. And I was like, well, I mean, yeah.
But I would wear leather pants, so...
Yeah, I'm a very conflicting person. So I am, let's see, this is a week and a half in.
Okay.
There's good and bad. Breakfast is hard. Good is I do feel good. They say that like little things will be extra, like smells and tastes. Super gassy, which I guess is a common side effect. Like it is bananas. I've never bought so much gas X in my life. But I got Josh doing it. He's on board.
Oh,
I think
really?
he's on board with it. Yeah. I had him watch a documentary. I'm like, look, we eat a lot of meat and byproduct. It's like every meal, it's a meat or a cheese or something. And if we could just maybe back off a little, I'm not saying you have to go totally, but maybe for your health, and I want you around forever. And I mean, as long as he can be, until there's cloning. And so he's totally on board, but his view is he wants to be able to have like a cheat day, kind of like with the 4-Hour Body we did. Like he's all on board, but like one day. And I said, that's great. Like go for it. And I kind of laughed and said, until that cheat day makes you feel like shit. And he was like, stop it. So I don't really know. I don't know like where I stand. Like I think I feel better. I'm so new into it. I'm confused. Like I've spent so long in, my fitness regimen taking carbs out of my life. So it's super weird to be having like a pasta or toast or just tons of fruit. So I like that. It's odd.
Yeah.
I had granola and coconut milk last night. I was like, it's good. I mean, my tummy feels
There's delicious
better.
things.
It's just weird.
Yeah.
I've tried some of the faux meat and the faux cheeses. Some of them are good. Some of them are not. I mean, there's great vegan restaurants around here. I just am curious. I just want to see if I can mitigate this disease with diet, because I'm still on the
vegan and
newer.
not an asshole.
Yeah,
Just kidding.
Anyway, so that's my weird, like, oh my God, this is happening. So if anybody's listening and wants to shoot me some support, like tweet me, DM me, tell me some cool things you've eaten, and I don't know. Here we go.
I will
It's happening.
refrain from telling you about the cool steaks that I eat.
Oh no, you eat them all for me. I'm not doing this because I don't like the meats. The meats don't like me. Anyways, I digress. We have an amazing guest. MVP, speaker, leader, helper to you and me for our events. Literal all-around badass. Do you have anything amazing to say?
I mean, I sometimes get mistaken for Amber, which is like, to me, is the highest compliment. We both, I think, are just woo girls. We're not the shy wallflowers, which is a good thing. So another Carolina MVP makes me happy, rock star. And I'm excited to hear some maybe surprising announcements and nerdiness.
Ooh.
From the one and only Amber Boaz.
Amber, welcome to the show. Little technical difficulties. It was the hardest thing we ever had to do.
Hello, friends.
For 3 women in tech, what's the most difficult thing to do?
Yeah, but there's a difference between what we do and like computer stuff. I'm not gonna. I can't figure
the red
anything.
light has to be blinking in order for me to even try. The red light's not blinking, I'm useless.
Yeah, I can create you a field, but I don't know what to do if your Outlook isn't working. Sorry.
Right. I have my limits.
I mean, I assumed you were omniscient.
No, I am not omniscient or omnipotent or omni-channel. I'm none of those things.
I totally heard impotent, and I was like, why are you clarifying that?
I'm not impotent either.
Omniscious?
This is off to such a good start.
Omnipotent. I like it. That's where.
Or omni-channel.
Omni-channel.
Or way to bring it back.
Service Cloud, yo.
Welcome to the show. Episode 22. What?
Wow, that's awesome.
We can actually drink in a bar now.
That's fantastic.
Our episode word,
All
child.
three of us.
Kristi is far, far away. We are covering 3 time zones, coming in at you at Pacific time, Mountain time, and East Coast. So
Holla.
we're doing pretty good.
I'm holding down the East Coast for you, Kristi. I got this. North Carolina, represent.
Speaking of North Carolina, we were talking a little bit before. Do you want to share your new role? Because we were just chatting the other day while we were talking about witness success and all the other amazing things you do. And I didn't know that. And I feel like that's a big deal.
So it's coming in a few weeks. Kristi is looking surprised in our video chat because she doesn't know about this yet. So I have only recently announced this internally at my existing company. I'm moving to an organization that is moving from NetSuite into Salesforce, and I will own that migration process. So we're working with some consultants, and there's a couple of teams that are ancillary. And so the title is CRM Platform Owner.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I know. I want that engraved on something. Like, I feel like I need that,
Platform owner.
embroidered or engraved on something. So pretty excited about that. So to start on the 21st on Eclipse Day. So it feels like that's either a really good sign or a really bad sign. I don't know which.
I have 0 feelings about an eclipse day. So I say
0 feelings? Oh, I have lots of feelings about it.
I've never even heard that, like I know that eclipse happen on a day, but not like
on August 21st.
But this one's
there is
deals.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Like, yeah, it's a big deal.
I don't know why. Amber's going to tell me.
Well, so there's a solar eclipse happening that's coming across the United States. Starts in Oregon, ends in South Carolina. And so it's going to cover a big chunk of the United States with swaths of darkness that wouldn't normally be dark in the middle of the day on August 21st. And it's happening on August 21st this year. Be sure to get your eclipse glasses. I have my eclipse glasses here. Make sure they're ISO rated so you don't burn your eyeballs, because that would be sad. But yeah, it's going to be fantastic. I'm super excited. And so there's a Google thing, I don't remember what it's called, where you can type in your zip code and it tells you what times and how dark it's going to get. And it shows you what the sun's going to look like where you are. So if I'm in North Carolina, it will be almost total. If I'm at my new company doing new hire orientation, A, it will be in the middle of my first day, and B, it will be not quite as dark because it's further north. Out of the path of of totality. So there's a whole big NASA thing about being a citizen scientist and measuring the temperature where you are when this happens, because turns out when you're not in the sunshine, it's not as warm. Fun fact. I know. You want to write that down because that's super important. And so there's you got this? You got it, Kristi? Cold in the shade.
Colder. Yeah, so it's only going to be a few minutes. It's not like it's going to be like Arctic.
No, but it's going to last, depending on where you are in the U.S., it's going to last totality lasts for only 2 or 3 minutes. But, it isn't just
right.
It's a slow thing that happens. And so it gets darker and darker and darker and darker, and then it's totally dark, and then it's lighter. But you have to have super eclipse glasses to look at it, or you will burn your eyeballs. And
when I was a kid, I feel like you built a box that reflects the eclipse.
Yeah.
With the cardboard.
Yes. Yeah. You had to build like a viewer, and it would project onto another surface. But with the eclipse glasses,
I remember that as a kid.
Yeah, $12 for 5 of them. You can just look at the eclipse, and it's pretty snazzy. So I'm pretty excited about it. I know. Yeah.
I would say that I feel like an eclipse day would be a good sign because it's a rarity.
There we go. Yeah.
My dad also used to say that if things go wrong, it's a good sign. He's owned a couple businesses and they were courier. So he's like, if something went terribly wrong with like the first day, it was always a good client or something bananas like that.
That makes sense. It's like the whole, yeah, I get that. Well, we're doing a kind of one of my last hurrahs at my current job we're redeploying how we do closed case surveys, and nothing has gone poorly in that whole project. And everybody's like, like that's scary. You know what I mean?
why can't we just be like, that's amazing?
Right.
Instead, we're like, no.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Because reality.
Funny.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No way.
Right. Exactly. So, yeah. So that's going live on Friday morning, kind of first thing. So yeah, that's going to be a good thing. And then I'm the next week in Chicago with you ladies. Super excited. Yes. It's going to be so much fun.
And as three people that plan stuff, I just am ready to get to the finish line because it's really stressful. I mean, in a good way. And I know it's going to be amazing. And my heart is going to, runneth over with how amazing it is. It's just, it's stressful to have so many other people's expectations kind of hinging on what you can and can't pull off.
Well, so one of the things that Kristi said to me, my good friend Kristi, who is wise.
I said a smart thing. Let's hear it.
You did say, so what you said to me when I was freaking out about something Southeast Dreamin' was people don't know what we planned. And so if we don't meet that expectation, nobody's ever going to know that.
Huh.
Well,
that's all brilliant.
I know, right?
Just more like I've been let down by myself before. No, I'm just kidding. But
like a dark.
I just feel like nobody, unless you've told people, nobody knows that you wanted to have shirts and didn't have shirts. Like they're not let down. And this is because we talked about it for year 2 for Southeast Dreamin', and we just didn't have the confirmation of the budget and reasons, right? Logistical, logical reasons, but it felt like everyone would know. And then I felt bad. And then it's like, nope, that's not how that works. So
everyone is going to judge you for personally taking on putting this community event together.
I'm happy that my inner paranoia has now become advice that can help other people.
I have learned from your paranoia.
It's going to be good. I know it will be. It's so close.
I know.
So close. 10 days?
Yeah.
I actually booked a ticket, so that's helpful.
Thanks for doing that.
It was just one of those, I'm like, I'll get to it. And then like last Thursday or Friday, I thought, now. Like, get to that now.
Well, did I ever tell you that I didn't have my own name tag for Southeast Dreamin' this year?
That's awesome.
I'm pretty sure Amber was standing there. And it was especially wonderful because I was pretending like I walked up like, can I just register? Like being funny. And they went to look for my name tag in the box, and he was like, I'm sorry, ma'am, you didn't register. Can I process a payment for you? And I thought he was just like practicing or something, So yeah.
Don't you know who I am?
Yeah, that's exact. I hoped out, of course. And then, so it was a good test of the on-site badge printer.
There you go. It was QAing,
like not even on purpose.
Yes.
I am going to tell you something because I think by the time this comes out, it'll only be a few days in advance. Amber already knows.
Facts.
But we're going to do party buses from Midwest Dreamin' to witness success because it's going to be fun.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. It just worked out really well. So, I mean, they don't provide alcohol, but I guess if people were having a beverage and then wanted to get on the bus, they could. But yeah, I'm pretty excited.
That's not a very big if, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, we're not providing anything because, well, I mean, oddly enough, no sponsors were like, hey, do you want to sponsor alcohol in a moving vehicle? And they're like, not even a little bit. Not once, not never. Got
it. Turns out laws, blah, blah.
Yeah, right. They're like,
don't put my name on that bus.
Yeah, right. We'll just put your labels on some champagne. They're like, please don't at all. Well, was originally going to ask you like your favorite thing about, what you do in your role, which I guess it doesn't mean like you can't still answer these even though you're switching positions. But,
yeah.
Like we clearly are very happy in our ecosystem and our roles, but what is the one thing that, I don't know, that you're digging most about this change or, that you get to do and you get to play with most often?
Well, part of the reason I'm changing is because I don't get to do the things I want to do. So I'm excited to be back in the platform solving problems and,
Cool.
helping teams be better at what they do. I love it when a validation rule works. I love it when, I can pseudocode a trigger and hand it to a developer and they go, "Oh, that's amazing. This I don't have to hardly have to do any work." And then I go, "Remember your unit test?" And they go, "Crap, I should do those too." No, it's the connecting. It's connecting people with technology. It's connecting people with each other. That's what lights my fire. And so this community feeds my soul in that way. And I'm excited for a job that lets me do that 40 hours a week, plus or minus.
Or
So
probably plus.
probably plus. Almost certainly plus, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Like when you love it, it's not
It's true.
painful,
It's not a big deal. When my husband travels, yeah, it's kind of harder. I'm like kind of having to do everything. But the one thing I
Right.
do like about it is I don't mind if Olive watches Smurfs 4 more times because I'll work or I'll do Trailhead, which I tend to not
Right.
do if he's home because I don't want to be my nose on my computer for 12 hours solid when he's here. So
Right.
I agree though. I kind of committed to 60 hours the next 3 weeks. And then it'll go back to 40, but I really like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I really like it a lot.
Kristi's like, nope.
Wow, you don't sound creepy at all.
I will love you and hug you and call you George.
I like it a lot.
I want all the hours.
So,
my
well,
precious.
because you get paid on that too, so I'm trying not to like overextend myself, but I know that that's where the money comes from.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of getting paid. I feel like that's an important part of this whole adulting thing.
Yeah.
Sadly,
Having
yes.
having a paycheck because it turns out, fun fact, my mortgage company will not take Trailhead badges as
They're
payment.
such dicks like that.
It
Maybe
just
points.
no
Oh my
points,
God.
no
Pay my
badges.
rent.
They won't take stickers or
Yeah.
any of that.
To be fair, I'm sure that they could build a trail to teach them how to build a connector to translate points to currency
Like,
and build it on
Bitcoin?
Salesforce. Yeah,
Bitcoin.
Astro.
I still don't understand it. I'm just like, wait, what? Bitcoin is faux money? I don't know. I'm not always understanding it.
So would you like a buzzword? It's a cryptocurrency.
Yeah, but what is it connected to?
See,
I don't know.
what is cash connected to? You've just accepted another monetary structure that hypothetically has
Yeah.
gold backing it somewhere, but that doesn't.
The full faith and credit of the
Oh.
United States government.
Yeah, the piece of paper you're holding or linen. Sorry, am I getting real mysterious-y there? Being like, what is money even?
Well, I had this thought. I was watching The Count of Monte Cristo, and in the portion of it, he buys out this castle with all gold. And then, like, my thought process was, because we can't just watch a movie, we need to like think and digest it and tear it apart. And I was like, wow, that's a lot of gold. That makes sense why they went to paper, easier to carry. Then they went to virtual, so they don't have to worry about it. But then the virtual was out of balance, and then I missed like 20 minutes. But it goes back to like it's faux. It's not real. Like if we all were like, I want to hold my cash in hand, I don't think we all could.
Well, but even if we did, even cash, even gold is an agreement between two people about what that gold is worth.
Totally.
Gold has no intrinsic value. No money has intrinsic value.
Right.
Value is formless and shapeless, to get all philosophical on you, right?
Yes. So when the apocalypse comes, we will trade
cigarettes and
in
bourbon.
Cigarettes, bourbon, and stickers, right?
Hopefully.
I like where your head's at. Hey, if the apocalypse come, I'll take up smoking again. I mean, shit, what am I
Right,
going to do?
right, exactly.
Why not?
You won't have the internet or movies.
Because it tastes so delicious. Why not take it up?
It did once.
Well, so did a lot of things. Made sense.
This is true. We had this conversation a while back when I watched the movie The Road. Viggo Mortensen, it's based on a book, but kind of the apocalypse comes, but not like the sci-fi apocalypse, just like the all systems go down, blah blah blah. But the part of the movie is like him trying to get his son to a warmer climate to the coast, but Charlize Theron is in it and she kind of gives up. And we had a whole like angry discussion very early in our marriage. And he was like, "You wouldn't try?" And I was like, "Why? Where's the freaking value? I mean, where is the value in living? Like, I don't want to just try and make it. I hope I find water in 4 days." He's like, "But to make it, to say you did." I was like, "To who? Everybody's dead." I don't know. I mean, it depends on what.
You could start a whole new race.
It depends on what kind of apocalypse it is. It just depends. Just saying.
Like there's different
this got
colors.
really dark.
I know, we've got, and really scientific, oddly. Like, what? So, I feel like we should be trying to get to know Amber better. Is this typically how your conversations go? What else is on your nerd repertoire? Because I feel like, obviously, stickers. We've covered the eclipse nerdily. Mm-hmm. Like, what else is on your, like, what blows your nerd skirt up? That sounded really sexual, I think.
I actually have a skirt that has LEDs in it, and it's a constellation skirt. It's a literal nerd skirt.
She's just tying it all together.
But you really wouldn't want to blow it up because it's pretty short, and nobody needs to see that. But yeah, it's fantastic. It lights up, and it's a constellation, and they blink because they're LEDs. Okay, so to answer your question, I'm excited about the eclipse. I'm excited about the new job. We're at 1 year of Salesforce Saturday here in Central North Carolina. We've been meeting weekly, except for the obvious ones like Christmas and New Year's. But we've been meeting weekly for a year.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty exciting. We actually had somebody come in from Winston-Salem to our Salesforce Saturday for a couple weeks, which, for those of you who are not familiar with North Carolina's geography, that's about an hour and 15 minutes away. And he came in 2 or 3 weeks in a row.
So tell me why. It's funny because that's a completely non-sanctioned Salesforce-related thing.
Yep.
Right? So that is extra specially getting up on your Saturday to do work-ish related stuff and pay for it yourself. So, like, what makes you think it's so wonderful? Or, like, why do you think it's... I think it's wonderful, too, but...
Well, for me, it's a space where, so the way I described it to my mother-in-law, who relatively recently got an iPad, just to give you an idea, kind of level of tech savvy, was that it's my church. It's where I meet with my community. It's where we, to use a churchy verb, we fellowship around something we believe in, which is this platform and the people surrounding it. It's where we catch up on each other's lives and what's going on. It's where we drink good coffee and eat good waffles. Although most churches don't have waffles, they do have coffee. We have waffles. Churches don't. But no, it's a place where, people can get together and learn from each other and help each other out and build each other up in a way that doesn't happen in a 9-to-5 usually. Not because people are mean and work sucks and, screw the man,
right.
But because there's not time for that. You're working and you've got a project list and a to-do list and meetings and, whereas Salesforce Saturday for me anyway is really a space to have fun in this world, in the Salesforce world. It's almost a mini Dreamin. There's Dreamforce and there's the Dreamins and there's Salesforce Saturday. I don't know.
No, I love it. It's not cliche. It's perfect.
Cliche, but
they're all components.
Yeah, it's a really neat. Well, and I get to do it with my mom. So my mom and I co-lead it. So we catch up and do stuff together. And I have there's several folks who come regularly. Daniel and Ashley come regularly, and we've got some Mike's starting to come more regularly, and folks ebb and flow in and out. I mean, we're there from 9 to 1 every Saturday. So, and our agreement with folks is, come when you want, leave when you want. And there are folks who, are there right at 9 and leave by 10:30. And there are folks who show up at, 11 and leave at, after I've gone at 1. So it just depends.
I like that.
But the coffee, and we have it in the same spot, the coffee shop Bean Traders. Shout out to Bean Traders.
Mm-hmm.
They're awesome and responsive and kind and helpful and really good coffee, locally owned business.
Love that.
I occasionally do a shout out on Twitter to them, and they respond pretty quickly. It's a cool community event.
I like that structure instead of consistently trading or not trading. Trading spaces or, this is 9 to 12, be here, be square kind of thing. It's just like, this is where we're going to be.
Well, or the third.
And
I think there's, I think also, doing it, the third Saturday. Well, like, shit, is this the third Saturday? I don't know, right? Like, but so doing it every Saturday, and there are times when I can't go, and and Mom takes over, or vice versa. And when we're in Chicago, because Mom's coming, somebody else is going to have to run it because we're not there. And Ashley can't run it because she'll be with us. Somebody will, or we'll cancel it. Whatever.
About that is there's not even a run, like just someone be present.
Well, we have signage, and we have a fan because the room that we do it in is kind of hot. In the summer. So
I thought you meant like a groupie.
They're sitting over there.
No, we have
we're here for the trails. We are a band-aid.
I think it's tough to manage every week. So the idea of having your mom or having, like you say, a core group of people that's pretty reliable, I think really helps. But I always am struck, even if only like one or two people show up, because I do personally manage it as like the second Saturday of the month.
Right.
But even if one person shows up and I learned about a new nonprofit, or I caught up with somebody I haven't seen in a while, or I built a formula that made someone's day or helped them talk out this thing, or I made a connection to to Phil at Zinbit. Like, these are all literally things I'm thinking of that have happened at Salesforce Saturday, even if it's only a handful of people. So, I know they said the same kind of thing. I think it's interesting how it translates to, like, we may have talked about before how everything becomes a thing, right? Like, we should meet. Oh, and then it becomes like a regularly scheduled event. Even Girly Geeks, right, was just women meeting for drinks and has evolved into Women in Tech. So I feel like Salesforce Saturday is still in that, like, small rogue just because you want to, like, small. It hasn't become a thing.
Well, the intention is so, I think the freedom of Salesforce Saturday, and part of what I like about it, and don't get me wrong, I'm a user group leader, and there's value in the structure that Salesforce provides for user groups. I don't want to discount that at all. But there's something super fun about just an event that we just do because we want to. Right? Literally, Mom and I alternate paying the meetup fee because we're not willing to, take sponsorships or like, it's $90 every 6 months. We just pay it and then go buy our own coffee. Like, the non-structuredness of it, I think, is part of the value it brings.
I totally agree. I think that's why people loved Girly Geeks so much. At least the structure that I had which was a happy hour.
Yep. Yeah. That's how we do Girly Geeks here in Raleigh. It's just a happy hour. Just a happy hour makes it sound like it's less than, but it's not. There's kind of a theme, but we don't have content per se. Right. It's more like, let's start with this topic of conversation. Right. I
usually brought stuff that I liked, kind of like how we did the super faves. I just was like, this is what motivated me, or this is what I liked, and chatted about it, which is nice. Instead of, like you said, we didn't go over release notes. I think once we did like a presentation, and it was. People, my core members were like, ugh. I was like, in an office? We like do stuff? I was like, I'm very sorry. We will fix that. Yeah.
We won't do that again.
So to, like, kind of pseudo switch gears, talking about leading the Girly Geeks. And I'm assuming it was an accident just because we all seem to be accidental admins or accidental leaders. You are a huge leader in helping people speak, and you're a huge session speaker and helping people. You've helped me. So, like, how did that kind of happen? Or were you like, no, I really, really want to help out people, or people were like, Amber, help me?
More the latter. I mean, I have always been into theater. I'm sure that comes as a great surprise to everyone who knows me. I'll give you a minute to regain your composure.
What?
I know.
I knew you.
Oh, no, really?
I share this affliction, so I get you.
Yes. Yeah. And so, there's people reach out to me for advice, and I struggle to give it because I've been doing this for so long. Like, it's a personality thing for me, right? When I'm in front of people, I project. No one has ever said, Amber, we can't hear you. Please speak more loudly. Ever once. Ever once. That's never, ever happened once. But, that's not to say that I'm, practically perfect in every way. I do speak too quickly, and I do tend to, bodily shuffle my feet. Like, there are things about talks that I give that aren't fantastic, but, my goal in giving a talk is always to engage with the audience. And I think, if you're going into that nervous, or if you're going into that, feeling like you don't belong there, it's gonna show up in your presentation. And so part of what I try to bring to every event is, look, we're all in this together. And if somebody's a jerk to you from the audience, they're a jerk, and that's not about you. Right. It's like the whole shoes thing at Dreamforce. Now it's a thing, wear comfortable shoes, but that wasn't always the case. It was like, oh, I have to get, nice outfits for Dreamforce. And what I came to was, if somebody's judging me and doesn't want to work with me because of the shoes I'm wearing at Dreamforce, they're the asshole.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I don't have any space for that in my professional life. And I can say that, because I'm at a point in my career where I can say that. But I would also happily say that to someone right out of college and say, look, you've got to draw your boundaries with where I've totally gone off tangent here, but like, you have to be clear
Welcome to the theme of this podcast. You'll fit right in.
That's why I love you guys. But you've got to have professional boundaries, and one of mine is I'm not going to be physically uncomfortable when presenting or in a, I own one suit. And it's for funerals.
I own one for swimming.
Oh, okay. I own two then. One for swimming and one. But yeah, that's not my jam.
Well, and I think we've all been in the community long enough to know that, like, the ones that matter don't care, and the ones that care don't matter, kind of thing. Like, that's
right.
That's
exactly.
not who our people are. And if someone's doesn't get that, maybe they're unsure and they're new to the community and they think they're doing something right, they'll learn. Or, like you said, they're just an asshole and they can just be gone.
Right. Yeah. Again, if you're judging whether or not you want to work with me based on what I look like, and that kind of comes around to, some of the allyship stuff that we've talked about, or that we haven't talked about on this podcast, but I've talked about with both of you individually, is how do you support those who aren't like, air quotes that I'm using that you can't see because we're recording, how do I, as a hiring manager, support folks who aren't like me? Because there's value in that diversity, and there's value in pushing back. I don't know everything, thank God. I don't run the world, thank God. And so, surrounding myself with people who disagree with me is important to me. Hell, you spend 2 seconds with my husband and you understand that I value that, because we could not be more different.
Interesting. I love that, the little yin and yang.
Oh yeah. We were watching Parks and Rec, the TV show, a couple nights ago. And it is absolutely true that I am Leslie Knope and he is Ron Swanson.
I love it.
Like, that is who we
Beard
are.
and all.
Yeah, beard and all. Like, it's so true.
That's awesome.
It's pretty fantastic. I don't know where I was going with that, but
I was going to say, I think it's one thing to be that self-aware of your own, I'm this type of manager or that type of manager, that you're even thinking about that. And then another thing to then have to figure out what other people are to be able to manage to that, right? Is just an interesting, I think, being aware like that's a thing that you need to make an effort to figure out, instead of just, I'm going to do the same thing for everyone and assume that they're all going to respond the same way.
Well, and that doesn't work. And that's so there's a blog that I'm completely in love with called Ask a Manager, and askaManager.org. She's awesome. She gives fantastic advice. And one of the things she talks about is, when you are a manager, yes, there has to be consistency. And yes, you have to hold everybody in your team to similar standards, right? You can't discriminate and be, but at the same time, you do have to meet people where they are, and you do have to accommodate for differences in personality and style, right? You can't treat all the extroverts like you treat the introverts and vice versa. And that's where the skill of management comes in, is being able to identify that and behave accordingly. And it's damn hard, if you counted on, if you made two lists of, one list of all your crappy managers you've ever had and one list of all the amazing managers you've ever had, I would imagine that the list of amazing managers is shorter. It's hard to be a manager.
And it's hard
really
that I think you get there from an evolution of being good at your job, but it's a different skill set. So yes. I think a lot of people that are crappy managers are probably really good at what they did or really good at what they're managing people about. Right. But just that's what got you here won't get you there.
Right.
And I don't know a better way either, but
it's true though. Just because you're good at what you do doesn't mean you're good at leading or and maybe leading isn't the right word, but being in a leadership role. It doesn't always go hand in hand. It's kind of like being a teacher. That's not always the easiest to. You can be great at what you do, but then you turn around and teach or train. It's not the same.
Right.
Well, and I think even with presenting, so, at Midwest Dreamin and Forcelandia, where I'm at now, and Witness Success, that, people are like, oh, you're speaking in front of how many people? And it's like, I sort of forget that some people, I'm not saying I don't get nervous. Don't get me, I'm not just a rock band, comfortable. But, I hope that I have a good way of teaching and expressing myself. But then I sometimes assume that everyone does, or everyone understands me, and I think there's always still things to learn in how to present to people, not even managing people. These are all skills that you have to, it's okay to not be good at.
Well, in our community, like we've talked about before too, just, you don't have to be great, you don't have to be awesome, you like the conference, they don't know what you were going to say or what you were supposed to say at this earmark. Just get up there and talk to your friends. I mean, if there's someone out there that judges, then they're the jerks, and everyone else is going to be like, oh my God, you totally taught a great session. At least I hope.
I feel like you almost just threw my own advice back at me, which I feel so I feel like that feels so meta.
I'm here for you. I will be your mirror.
Well, and to pile on to that, not everybody wants to speak, and that's okay too.
Yeah.
Right? I think we, the three of us, tend to surround ourselves with people who are extroverted, who are, want that, as the part of their lives or working towards it. But not everybody wants that. And that's okay too. There are plenty of ways to give back that don't involve wearing a microphone.
Well, and I think there's also assumptions. I think you could argue either way too, or maybe you need to challenge yourself to speak if you're called to do that and, want to overcome, if it's a problem. But also, I think that we all have lost thoughts that I just was really going to make a point, and it's gone now. Nope.
We'll come back to you.
Sorry.
We'll come back to you, caller. Thanks for calling.
Oops. Hit that hang up button.
So very important.
I know that you've told your 9904 story before, but just for listeners that don't know or are new in the ecosystem, if you want to just throw that out there, I would like to hear it again.
So here's the deal with 9904. So my handle in most of the world is Amber 9904. And it has been, there's actually a community, there's a chatter group in the success community called What is 9904. There was a hashtag on Twitter a couple Dreamforces ago, What is 9904? Lots of very clever, lots of mediocrely clever puns and guesses. But it's a lot of fun. So my rule for people is that if they want to know what 9904 means, they can ask me in person. And I will tell them if they really want to know. There are a couple people who just don't want to know. They'd rather the mystery. So I will not be sharing with you what it is on the podcast.
I love your mystery.
You are also welcome to ask Grandma 9904, who is my mom. Her name is Marilee, like we roll along. And she will be at Midwest Dreamin and Witness Success. And she will probably be wearing her pink sequined hat. I think she's decided that's her thing.
Oh my God, I love her. Everything about her already.
She's fantastic. She's a pretty amazing human.
I just love, I could totally see her, introducing herself as Marilee, like we roll along. And then that now you've adopted that. And like, I doubt you can probably say her name without saying that in your head sometimes.
So when we were kids, my brother and I would sing, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream.
Mm-hmm.
Mama, 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 life is but a dream.
Such a good shortcut.
Way easier. Way easier.
God, I can't wait to meet your mama.
She's pretty fantastic.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Back at the first Southeast Dreamin, she held down the registration table, and we were doing a blanket fundraiser, and she just was crocheting.
No, she was knitting.
Mm.
Yeah. She was knitting a blanket, a baby blanket, wasn't she?
I think so. Just holding it down. Salesforce and knitting. I like
Salesforce and knitting, as one does.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, those things go together.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was pretty awesome. She, I don't know how many donations we pulled in because of her, but hey, knitting and
it was not as many blankets. I know it's like it's a tough thing to bring something with you to a conference as opposed to just making room for swag in your bag. B, if you're like me and you had great intentions, you bought the fabric or you bought the thing to do the thing, but then weren't able to make the thing. So we got a lot of monetary donations, which was really great. A couple $100 that we donated, especially for people that we kind of gave a break to when they showed up, because it was the first year we were just happy people were there. So it was like, can I get 50% off? And we're like, sure, yes, come on in. So then they were like, you're so nice. Let me give money to your charity. So that worked out really nice. That means we have one question for you, caller. Are you ready?
Are you ready? Are you prepped?
I'm ready.
It's been a while.
I think so.
We don't ask each other this. We didn't ask our last guest.
Oh, and scared. Yeah, we were gonna ask Tony.
Ask Tony Profit, his biggest Salesforce group.
Yeah, I'm trying to follow Tony Profit here, ladies. So no pressure.
What is your to date biggest Salesforce screw up? Keeping in mind you're starting a new role.
I know. Well, so I actually talked to a couple people about this because I couldn't think of anything, and that's not a good answer because that makes me sound like a jerk.
I love that you crowdsourced it. You're like,
I was like, well, I asked Forrest, my husband. I was like, what could, and he was like, I don't think you ever screw up. I'm like, okay, first of all, can I get that in writing? And second of all, you're wrong. Well, so I came up with a couple of things. One is more regrets, right? Not so much screw ups as regrets. Part of the reason that I bang the documentation drum so hard is because I'm bad at it.
Oh, yeah.
And I have inherited orgs that are bad at it. And I wish I were better at it. And I work very hard to be better at it. So it's more of a regret than anything. But, when you have, you come into an org and there's an object that's got a weird name where the API name doesn't match the label, and there's 400 fields and half of them are like 1A4, 2B7, and you're like, what has happened here? What sort of schema abomination were you doing when you came up with this nightmare of an object? But if people wrote things down and not just the what they did, but the why they did them, and who asked for it and what it was in relationship to, that's huge. That's the only way, we're going to be able to move between orgs. So
maybe you could come up with an app that you can drag and drop these things and give them names and
elements.cloud is the closest I've seen to something like that. I don't know if you're familiar. The folks at elements.cloud are fantastic human beings. Huge shout out to them. Their app lets you build process documents. They have a freemium version and then a paid version. The freemium version, you can draw all your process documents in it, and they link down, and you can add attachments and notes, and you link things to each other it's fantastic. The paid version, then you can attach your Salesforce metadata to those processes. There's lots more things it does, and I'm not going to give you a whole tour. Talk to Ian if you want to.
Oh, he's great. Yeah.
Ian's an amazing dude. You'll love Ian. And he will also be at Midwest Dreamin' and at least at the Allies Dinner. I'm not sure if he's staying through Witness Success, but he'll at least be at the Allies Dinner. Anyway, you can tie your Salesforce metadata to the pieces of the process, which is fantastic, because then when you say, okay, I want to change this field, what processes did that impact? It goes, oh, it would impact these 3 processes. Oh, cool. I know.
Yeah.
Now, it's a lot of work to get it set up initially, but if you're starting in a greenfield implementation, not so hard. So that I'm really looking forward to doing amazing things with that.
Would I, as a consultant, own that, or would Blue Wolf own that, or would the client own that? I said Blue Wolf, by the way, just WOF.
You did. I heard that. That's nice.
All the time.
Wolf.
BLUWUFF.
I hope it's right. It's right meow when I can't say it the other way anymore.
Meow. Right meow. So to give you an example, the way I'm working, so I have an intern this summer, and the way she and I are working together is, she created the diagram and invited me to it and made me a manager. So she and I are both managers of the diagram. Then when she leaves, because I'm also a manager, I will make her not a manager anymore, and then I'll invite other people to it. So as a consultant, you could absolutely spin something up and then add your clients to it and then have them remove you when the time came.
I like it.
Yeah.
It is tough to we try and do weekly documentation hour to try and force yourself to do it, because even your own self, like you're talking about clients naming fields dumb and changing labels and doing dumb stuff, past me or past people half doing my job
Right.
But it's tough just putting in descriptions is enough of an argument, let alone, documenting, even though you fundamentally know that you need to know the links between the things. It's tough to...
Well, and you think you're going to remember, and you won't.
Yeah. Or you get
too
far down the rabbit hole, and then you're like, I just can't. I don't even know how to go back.
Past me, I don't know about with y'all, but past me was an asshole. And future me needs a talking to. Because past me didn't do anything.
Now you is great.
She needed to have started working out 20 years ago. She needed to get her diet in shape. She needed to document some orgs. That girl, I have words to say to her.
This last project we did, I started the sheet of what we were doing because it's an existing org, and my first project, and I was like, oh, this is such a tedious project. All your Excel doc and all the tabs. And the consultant on the project, I was like, all right, are we gonna keep track of this? And he's like, no, it's not in scope. And I was like, okay, done. Didn't ever go back to it. And now at go live, the client's like, where do we have this stuff? And consultant assholes that get a bad reputation, we're all like, no, it wasn't in scope, so sorry. Which sucks.
Well, documentation and training are the first 2 things to get cut.
Yep.
They're always the first 2 things to get cut.
Well, and
then UAT.
Skills, just like we were talking about, right? As the manager skills, that level of creating cases from emails and those documenting what you're doing and not creating the object before you've really scoped it out, and all these these are all skills that you have to kind of find.
Well, and it's discipline too, right? It's skill, but it's also
That's what I'm dormant and don't have. So your biggest Salesforce screw up is that you're a secret ninja that maybe doesn't document sometimes, and that's why you are known as the documentation queen.
Yes.
I like it.
It's
a screw up.
Yeah.
It's an ongoing screw up.
You're right, exactly. It's a constant ongoing screw
now.
up. Yes. It's calling from inside the org.
This has just taken so many creepy turns. Wonderful.
Maybe this should be the Halloween episode.
We may have to have you back sometime and actually have some more structured conversation.
Yes, I will come back anytime you want.
Following down some rabbit holes.
No, we're not ever going to have that structured conversation, but thank you. Thank you for coming and playing with us.
Thank you for having me. This was so much fun. Anytime.
We'll have a big group hug soon.
Big group hug.
So obviously she's amazing. I feel all like warm and fuzzy and like I've known her for years. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, she's very easy to get along with human.
Yeah, easy to love, easy to all the things.
I also
very
feel
validating.
Like we could just sit around with a few bottles of wine or champagne and just have a conversation that like never ends until you fall asleep.
Yep, I love that. You start giggling at night, like we had a slumber party. I love it. So I am super happy that we got to have her on the show finally, even though in my world I was certain we had. Maybe I am telepathic now, or psychic.
Yeah?
Is that the word? Yeah, and I knew the future was coming, even though
to be fair, like we picked the guests, so then I feel like you could be like, look, I thought we were gonna pick Amber, and we picked Amber, so
it's so amazing. Whoa.
Now I should pick lottery numbers.
I know you have lots of super fun things to do at Forcelandia, so I won't keep you, but do you have a super fave this week?
You know, my super fave is Forcelandia related because if you've been to conferences before and done the super fun sponsor bingo to visit all the wonderful sponsors that make the community events happen, this year at Forcelandia, they're doing a really awesome thing that you may have seen on Twitter. Each sponsor has a customized Lego brick that has their logo on the side of it.
Uh-huh.
And so each attendee, you started with a Forcelandia brick and a Salesforce developers brick and a blank brick. And then you build a little brick tower of all the sponsors. And then you can trade it once you get them all, just like with bingo, you trade in the blank brick and you get this really awesome wood printed notebook. They've got a lot of great. One of the things I really love about this event is a lot of local sourcing of things.
I love
Even
that.
at McMenamins, like they make their McMenamins here, they make their own beer and it's very like local. The Demo Jam Award, the Hack a Jam Award lights up and it's a local vendor. They've got these it's basically like a wood burned cover on the notebook that you earn by getting all the Legos. So just really cool, thoughtful, interesting. So I get to carry around a bag of Map Anything Legos and give them to people and make them talk to me about Map Anything in their life to earn a Lego. So yeah, it's been super fun.
My daughter would be so happy. She loves Legos. But to be fair, she loves us to build them and then she plays with them. Mostly.
Teamwork.
Teamwork. So my super fave is I went and saw Atomic Blonde last Friday with the Hubs. We have this thing we started, I would say almost 4 years ago now, when I started working from home, is we will sneak away on movie premiere day and go see a matinee together. And it's typically a Marvel movie or a DC comic, or this one's based on a graphic novel. And it was awesome. It was just badassery. Charlize does an amazing job. And it's set in Berlin and various other parts of the world in 1989, I believe, or 86. So the soundtrack is amazing. So then, of course, I come home that night, have a few beers, and I was like, I need the soundtrack. And then I got stuck in like the 80s land. And now I have like $30 worth of 80s compilations, but it's amazing. It was so good. And then I watched Glow on Netflix, which is, 80s as well. So I'm like, all of this 80s-ness. I was like, I just want to go dance to 80s music.
I mean, we have that in Charlotte. Maybe we can find it in Chicago.
Maybe it'll be on our cruise. Foreshadowing.
All
Being
of the
psychic again.
I also, my ultimate super fave is just to explain to people sort of how nerdy we are together. I definitely texted you and was like, I'm pretty sure I need a massage during Witness Success. And your response was, of course, I'm in, me too. And then literally at the same time, we both texted each other couples massage, which I just feel like is just wonderful. Not only that we both had the same ridiculous thought, but also like, sure, let's just get naked and have massages together. Who doesn't want to do that with their Ohana friends? And like it's just amazing. It's just another great reinforcement of like just how like we wouldn't have even known each other without this. And now true. even here at Forcelandia, I booked late and wasn't able to book a hotel room for the second night. And I literally came here knowing I would figure it out. And I found someone who needed to share a room, and it worked out perfect. So just, and it's like, she was like, I mean, I can try and get 2 beds, but it's a king bed. So I'm like, I don't care if you don't care,
Right.
And it's just like, sure, let's do it,
It's so true. I mean, we've talked ad nauseum, I'm sure, about how we've never worked for somewhere else that's like this. I've never had other coworkers where I was like, yeah, we can share a room. I mean, before it was like, absolutely not. But yeah, I couples massage, of course, because then we can still talk and be massaged.
Sure.
I want to spend every moment with you.
Yes.
Wear your skin for my birthday.
Never leave me. Wow. Again, keeping it dark, just like our conversation earlier.
Yeah. To it, dark hour.
I did have 3 random 2-wit stickers that I found in my bag that I have already given away because people came and asked me for them, which makes me happy. But we will have some more at Midwest Dreamin and Witness Success. So if you are motivated by stickers, or in case you're worried that stickers become currency, we can help you with that.
Whiskey.
So
cigarettes.
And stickers. Or ketchup packets. Well, next week, you and me plus us equals calculus. I don't know if that was awful. But until then, everybody, stay witty.